So I went from 202 to essentially the day before the trip, I weighed in at 169. So that would have been 37 pounds in about weeks. And I just had that feeling when I came into that first meeting with you, like, this is going to be it.
Physically, mentally, just every part of your life, what are benefits that you're noticing?
I was in decent shape before. These past 2 months, like, my confidence and self-esteem has just skyrocketed.
What made you want to start your fitness journey?
What started me on my fitness journey, honestly, it's a really sad story.
What's up, everyone? This is my client, Matthew. Very stoked about this. He is the funniest client, hands down, I've ever worked with. So we're going to be a little interview for you guys to see his journey. Hopefully answers any questions you guys have about my coaching or just any journey you're on. Hopefully it's relatable, things like that. To start us off, Matthew, can you just introduce yourself and what made you want to start your fitness journey?
Yeah, my name's Matthew. What started me on my fitness journey, honestly, it's a really sad story. I went to the Grand Canyon with an ex-girlfriend, and that night after our big hike, we were looking through pictures to post, and I was just honestly so embarrassed by every picture that had me in it that I didn't want her to post any of them, and it kind of ruined the trip. So that night, I texted my buddy Austin, asked him for a workout plan, and hit it day one when we got back, and here we are 2 years later.
To be very specific, when did you decide to stop doing it just on your own and decide to hire a coach or specifically hire it with me?
Specifically started looking for a coach back in March, April. My issue was November of 2024, so about 8 months ago now. I tried to really start getting my nutrition in order. Like before that, I was hitting my protein, but not tracking calories. Sure as hell wasn't looking at micronutrients or anything like that. But in November, I started tracking everything, trying to eat in a deficit, and basically was just yo-yo dieting for the better part of 6 months. And I was like, you know what? I'd make really good progress for a month, crash out, undo everything. Just I was not finding the sustainability, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get some sort of external accountability involved because that's something that has always worked for me. And
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that message. I mean, that's a very common message I hear, which the yo-yo diet means nothing even against you. 90% of Americans that lose the weight gain it back. And if not gain it back, they gain it more back, which is a crazy thing. And people blame like the Biggest Loser study where people are like, oh, you crash your metabolism. But as you know, with the coaching, not a thing. We'll elaborate more
Nope.
later on the road.
Nope, sure ain't.
Yeah. So what state of mind physically? Sorry, let me rephrase that. What were you thinking before this? How were you mentally? How were you physically and everything before joining the program?
Well, I was on the tail end of a crash out, so not in a good spot. Before that, I was doing okay. I was doing all right with the dieting. Like basically pre-diet weight or like post-crash out weight would always be in the 195 to 205 range. And then I could usually, like, because there were 3 rounds. It was 3 rounds exactly before I got you involved.
Mhm.
I would get down to, like, I think the lowest I got by myself was 175. But the other thing too is I wasn't chasing a number on the scale. I know when I hit a particular number working with you and I sent you that text, I was really, really happy. I broke down in tears because that was a special number to me. But
Yeah, I also want to add those texts genuinely made me emotional when you say these things because I was in the same shoes as you where I was started overweight and things like that. And to get those texts, I really appreciate you genuinely sharing vulnerable moments like that because as a coach, I'm sure other coaches can relate to it. Like it makes the whole business worth it. And like I said before this intro, like you're genuinely the funniest client. Honestly, more of a friend at this point than even a client because it's just so fun to talk. Like our check-ins bleed into just
I
life.
mean,
It's
I really, really like sharing that stuff and just bouncing it off of you and being able to just like talk about it. I love it. I mean, this is like even running the calorie deficit I was running, it was still enjoyable. And just like, I loved, like life was just good because I was making progress. I was so happy with how everything was going.
Yeah, we're not going to give
it was going. It is going, and it's still going, and it's going to keep going.
Yeah, we're not going to give exact calories and macros what we did with him, so you guys don't try to replicate what he did because it was very extreme. He had me overseeing everything, and we were working together very close on everything. So we're not going to say the exact process that we did. And I said program earlier. Matthew can attest. Not really a program. I don't really like send, hey, follow this and we're done.
No.
It's a pretty hands-on experience, which I think is how you handle things like this, especially.
It was a very collaborative effort, and I appreciate you letting me collaborate with that and not just trying to dictate everything, because that
Yeah.
when you feel involved, it makes it more exciting and it makes it
Yeah.
easier to adhere to.
I just think it's more sustainable at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the truth is you do more work when you work with me than a normal coach. You just unfortunately have to, but I believe if you do more work with me, you're more likely to do the work after. There's the
Right.
whole mindset like if you have a coach do everything for you and you stop working the coach, you're kind of back at square one. But to go more in depth, what did we accomplish together in total? How long did it take you to do your weight loss, and what weight did you start at and to where you got?
I started, so technically day one with you, I was 196. The day before, I was like 202. So we're going to say 202 because that makes me look better. But so I went from 202 to essentially, I don't want to call it peak week, but it kind of was, because I was really, really trying to get things dialed in for that trip I went on to. And that it wasn't like, hey, I'm going on a trip, I'm going to go hire Dylan and get in
Mm,
shape for it. No, I was ready to make this life change.
mm,
And that trip just happened to be a convenient finish line timing wise with all of this.
mm.
But the day before the trip, I weighed in at 169. So that would have been 37 pounds in about 7.5 weeks. Or is it 27? 206. I'm counting the 206. Sorry, I
That
can't do
is
math in my head.
no, you're good. I mean,
37. And, obviously a huge chunk of that's water weight, but the vast majority was legitimate fat loss.
yeah, I want to elaborate on that. With your training, a lot of people when they do these aggressive things, and I want to admit this is aggressive. That's not what everyone does. I trusted Matthew because Matthew has experience in the past. A lot of vetting. I even told him beforehand, like I'm trusting you in this process as well as much as you trust in me, because this is extreme, and he knows it's not sustainable. What we do after is going to be the sustainable aspect, but what
Mm-hmm.
he was doing, he knows he's not going to continue losing 37 pounds every time duration we had. That's
God, I'd be skin and bones. Hell no, I don't want
so
that.
warning signs. This isn't everything. I'm not trying to sell a fantasy. Warning signs all over the place, all over the screen here. But with your training, dialing in the nutrition, did it have any effect on your training? Did your training suffer in any way while in a deficit? Did you lose any muscle mass in your mind or anything like that?
Yes and no. I had some bad days where it's just like, just felt like the session was just dragging. Like I was just not very much energy. On the whole, though, given the extremeness of the deficit, no. Because like you watch like Will Tennyson not all that long ago. He did a bodybuilding show and he was
Mhm.
just talking about how miserable his lifts were leading into his peak week, and he was just like barely pushing any weight, no energy. I didn't feel like that. Like he was like a walking zombie. I never
Yeah.
felt like that. Like
I'm
energy was
glad you're,
always good.
I'm
Honestly,
glad you're being
strength
honest.
my strength went up on some lifts throughout this process. And yeah, some it dropped, but I don't necessarily know if that was a legitimate strength drop as much as it was like I just don't have the fuel in my system to put up that kind of weight right now. At
Yeah,
least
I
for that many
also
reps.
I'm glad you're being honest because if you said you didn't lose any weight, I would have called you out because or you
Oh, I
didn't lose.
definitely did.
Yeah, so when you're losing body size, fat or muscle, doesn't matter. Your body is purely holding that weight. And a lot of lifts, like bench, for example, is very weight driven. That's why those power lifters that are super big, they tend to favor bench because they're heavy human beings. The whole phrase mass moves mass is pretty legitimate in lifts like that. But like deadlift, for example, is not really body weight driven that well. So it is almost inevitable that you will lose strength, and how I gauge progress in that phase where if you maintain strength while on a caloric deficit, you're making progress because that means you're not losing strength like you should, mean you're gaining muscle, or if you get stronger. Those are the two ways I usually tell if you're actually making progress while on a deficit. So in this case, you maintain most of the time, if not got stronger, which is great. That's the whole
Yeah,
goal.
no, I am honestly just like baffled at how much strength I didn't lose.
Yeah. And so before we started working together, what was your biggest struggle?
Training has never been a problem. When I started lifting 2 years ago, I've missed 3 cumulative weeks in a span of 2 years. Two were due to, well, one was illness, one was injury, which were back to back, and that damn near sent me 2 weeks off back to back. And then the other one, I was just doing a huge house project, and I had zero energy for the gym at the end of the day. I was sanding floors all day, every day for 6 days straight. I was not going to the gym after that.
Yeah.
But no, the training itself, I have never had an issue with getting up and going to the gym. In fact, it's like the most exciting part of my day. I love that. It was really the nutrition and just getting like hitting particular micro counts, fiber, biggest fiber man in the world right here. Trust me, I'm hitting my fiber with Dylan's my coach. um, and then just something like simple things, just like overdosing on omega-3s. Not like legitimately overdosing, but like loading up on those. I think that had a huge impact on not feeling the hormonal negativities of such a severe deficit.
Yeah, you brought up something I wanted to ask as well. Did you feel any hormonal side effects? Not to go too in depth, just in general, did you feel like your testosterone crashed or anything
Not,
like that?
not whatsoever.
It's amazing to hear. Yeah, we are very crucial on very key things a lot of people don't pay attention to. And a lot of free game for you guys is pay attention to that omega-3 6 ratio. It's really important. It's very key in regulating your hormones. Just getting fat content doesn't do the justice. You need to really be meticulous about certain things, especially doing these extreme things. So kudos to Matthew. I know I'm his coach, but the flowers are truly for Matthew. He's the one that did it. I was just overseeing it. It is a
And
remarkable thing he's
another ounce of free game. Something else I picked up on was from nutrition narc.
doing.
He said he would eat salmon every day. I during my cut, I was doing 2 meals a day. One of those bare minimum was always some form of seafood, in addition to the omega-3 fish oil I was taking every single morning. Like
Yeah,
I was,
Blake's a king on Omega. Blake's a
yeah,
smart guy. He doesn't coach, unfortunately, but very smart guy. I love talking to him. He does the salmon and the tuna because it's very dense in omega, and you get a lot of protein from it, so it's a win-win.
it
So
is. Especially trying to solve that puzzle of how do I fit this many grams of protein into such a deficit.
yes,
Yes,
yeah,
tuna is a cheat code.
yes, it is amazing. Doesn't matter if it's canned or not. You're getting that omega
Nope.
fats, which is amazing. And
Oh,
tuna,
Star-Kissed packets. I should have just bought a ton of them, like a legit 2,000 pound pallet of Star-Kissed. I would have gone through it.
um, and the next question I wanted to ask you is, what was your biggest hesitation before signing up for my coaching?
Biggest hesitation, honestly, because the biggest legit hesitation I had, which wasn't even a real hesitation, because I knew if I pulled the trigger, this was like, okay, I am not going back at this point, just because how my brain works. But I mean, the money involved. But you got to think about. I won't say the particular number, but say, hey, I can give you your dream body for $5,000 right now. Would you take it? Hell yeah, sign me up. Like I would totally do that. But again, that's me knowing I've got the discipline and the training structure to maintain that once I get it. My problem was I just could not get my ass there to where I wanted to be. And I knew if I made that financial commitment plus having the external accountability, that's what would get me
Yeah, I mean, you kind of answered the next question I was going to ask. What was the final thing that tipped it over to make that decision?
there.
It was,
Yeah. And those come from a couple previous experiences of mine. The external accountability, I played sports all growing up, and I specifically remembered high school wrestling, having your teammate accountability around you. It's just like it's been impossible to replicate that in my adult life until I
Hmm.
signed up with you. That's
Yeah,
what really
accountability is a
got me
really
there.
big factor. I think it's not talked about enough. Having someone to speak
Right.
to about your problems is very nice. I think even as me, I mean, I have a mentor, and it's very helpful to have someone to speak to constantly. I mean, mine's a life mentor, and I coach for fitness, but same thing. I mean, it helps to talk to someone about things. So I think it's a very valuable thing. I appreciate you saying that. And so, can you walk us through what changed your daily routine or mindset once you joined? What was the biggest switch?
Honestly, the biggest switch in my daily routine, stopped eating breakfast. Intermittent fasting. That's
And
just something that I found worked for me though, because like beforehand,
nice.
I thought eating breakfast was like you had to like to be a functional human throughout the day. You have to have a certain number of carbs in your system just to have energy and focus throughout the day. Well, I never really felt like that. I just ate breakfast because it was a social construct, and everybody says you need to. And it's like, well, I have plenty of energy throughout the day without that. So I would intermittent fast, fancy term for skipping breakfast for me. I
Yeah,
just wouldn't have breakfast, and then I'd load up my protein. I'd hit all my macros for lunch and dinner. It was easy for me.
yeah, I want to add. So, as someone that's consumed my content a lot, and anyone that's watching this, they know I'm not the biggest fan of intermittent fasting personally. I don't care if my client likes it or not. If they
But
like
you're a
it,
collaborative coach,
that's what I'm
and
saying.
you
Like,
worked with me.
I will let them do the things just because I don't see the benefit of it. We know there's pros and cons to everything in the
Hmm.
fitness space. The pros will always outweigh the con, no matter the diet. So if he likes intermittent fasting, he can adhere to it. Why would I put my philosophy onto him? It doesn't make sense. So I'm so glad you said that because I literally have videos crapping on intermittent fasting. Yet my clients doing
I know you
intermittent
do. I've
fasting
watched them.
So I just think that's a really cool thing that you're saying, and it's genuinely what I try to practice is there's no such thing as the best solution for everyone. You just have to meet them where they are. And so you're the literal epiphany of that because your schedule, we're not gonna say it so no one copies it. It's pretty remarkable. It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting, but you hit your goals and that's what matters the most. And the next question I wanted to add, which is up to you, your discretion, but what were the benefits that you've noticed outside of what you enjoy and just your life in general, like physically, mentally, just every part of your life? What are benefits that you're noticing?
Well, I mean, I was on essentially a 25-year perma bulk until I finally got into, pulling my head out of my ass and trying to get into reasonable physical shape. I was in decent shape before. These last 3 months, though, 2 months, I guess, these past 2 months, like my confidence and self esteem has just skyrocketed. And I know love comes from within, and you should not value yourself based off of your physical appearance. But the confidence boost, because I know it's unhealthy, it speaks more to my poor mental health than anything. But just the confidence boost from knowing, hey, I'm not totally chopped anymore. I actually look decent. It's just like I don't hesitate to even. It's not even just talking to girls. It's talking to just total strangers. Just having the confidence to just spark up a conversation with anybody. Work even. Like my job, I'm talking to people nonstop on the phone all day long, or I'm meeting with people in person. I'm confident going into that stuff.
I want to touch on something else. And I also want to say, I think it's so funny when people say stuff like what you just said right there, where self love comes from before, but we see ourselves every day.
Yeah.
So why would you not put yourself in a situation that allows you to have benefit? It's just you do have benefit from looking at a body that you enjoy. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
self-love does come from within, but you can add things to help yourself to love yourself more, which living in a body that you're proud of is one of the first things you can do. And I genuinely think it's a very big pillar of life. But I wanna add to something that it means a lot to me that you said recently. And you don't have to divulge private information, but we were speaking about it before where people think to live in a fit body, they have to do the same routine every single day. They have to do all these things and they can't enjoy their life. Fitness becomes an obsession and an addiction. So basically, you just trade one addiction for other. You were, like you said before, your head was in your ass. Now you're in a body you're proud of.
Yeah.
But you said something that was really cool where you're doing things in life, and I'll allow you to explain, not put words in your mouth, but are you able to live a life of your dreams, still maintain the body of your dreams?
I mean, it'll be 2 weeks on Friday since I basically didn't stop tracking calories altogether because like my brain is just programmed to the point now where everything I eat, if even if I'm not like physically tracking it, I've got a mental log throughout the day. But yeah, like my weight has not gone up whatsoever in 2 weeks. In fact, it's actually gone down because like when I was at basically low water weight, I was in the upper 160s at the end of the cut, and now like basically every morning I weigh in. I'm between 170 and 173. It's
Yeah, I
like
think
my
you're
weight's
forgetting.
not gone up over 2 weeks, and it's like you know what? A few pounds of water weight, no issues there. I sure
I
as hell.
think
And that's the
you're
big thing. If you're
you're
going
forgetting
for
what you're doing.
aesthetic, don't judge the scale, judge the mirror.
You're forgetting what you're doing. You didn't say what you've been doing. You just said don't
Oh
walk.
yeah, I've been not going out like crazy. I'm not just like a party animal and just getting hammered on a Wednesday night or something like that. But it's just like I went out with my friends last weekend. I went out to dinner last night. I didn't care about what I was eating. Like it's just like I know I'm not going to go overboard and have an 8,000 calorie day. I'm not stupid. But
Yeah, you're doing your due diligence from the education
mhm,
you had, and you just know it's like a game. You can fit your calories and macros, and you can still enjoy it. And you just have to figure out how to fit that little bank you have, and you can prioritize. Like I do it all the time. Go on dates. You don't have to be this crazy extensive thing. You have to be intentional, and that's what you're
yep.
doing.
And it's like I had a whole wood fired pizza to myself last night. It was small, but it's like I'm not going to go to a date and eat chicken, broccoli, and rice because it fits my macros for the day. No, I'm going to be
Yeah,
a normal human in society and be
you're letting.
socially normal.
I love the phrase. I'm stealing it from Higher Up Wellness. You're letting fitness. You're allowing fitness to let you live your life, not just exist in life, rather than
Yeah.
let fitness control your life. So I think that's a really key thing that you're just the walking epiphany of what I try to preach, and it means a lot to me that you're doing it so well and things like that. How did the process feel overall? Was it hard? Was it manageable? Or easier than you thought? Just genuinely objective here.
I mean, it was hard, but way easier than I thought still. Because, like, yeah,
You're
there were moments where it's just like I'm standing in the pantry just staring at some food that I should not eat, and I'm just like, I want to eat it so bad, and I'm not going to. But most of the time, like, I'm not kidding, Dylan. There was not a single night throughout this entire process I went to bed hungry. Like, I had found through my process of trial and error dieting for 6 months before you, I found what works for me and what doesn't. I had learned how to maximize volume and minimize calories. I just hadn't yet put it all together, plus the accountability, and just like this put it all together. Like, and I just
yeah.
had that feeling when I came into that first meeting with you, like this is gonna be it.
Yeah, the meeting was definitely a good meeting. I was very confident as well. Did anything specifically with the nutrition aspect make you change? Did you feel any difference in the process working with me versus when you were doing it by yourself?
When I was doing it by myself, I was 100% noticing hormonal changes towards the end of my dieting phase, which wasn't even intended to be a phase. But when we were nearing the crash out, there were definitely hormonal changes going on. I was extremely irritable. My sleep was tanked. I was doing extreme cardio. I was cheating on my diet and then supplementing with cardio. That shit does not work, people. Don't bother.
I love
It
that.
doesn't work. It's terrible. It makes the most unhealthy relationship with food and exercise. It's awful. Like there were not mornings, there were evenings. I would just raid the pantry and then go spend legitimately 2 hours on the Stairmaster.
Yeah, that seems to be a really
That's
common
not
thing.
sustainable. It's not healthy. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I've never once had one of those moments throughout this entire process.
that's amazing. I just, it's amazing to hear these things. If you guys think I'm underwhelmed, it's because Matthew and I talk quite often. So I'm trying to be as genuine as I can with you guys.
I'm getting my money's worth out of Dylan, guys.
And so, what if you had to meet Matthew before we worked together? What would be the biggest differences you noticed?
I mean, physically, that's a big one. Um, Honestly, mindset, confidence, just overall, just happiness with this process. I'm so much happier. I finally feel like I posted my first shirtless picture of my life this past week. If you
Dude,
would have asked me 2 months
it's
ago
awesome.
doing that, I wouldn't have had the confidence to say yes. But
Wow.
yeah,
I did not know that. I wish you told me. That's awesome. That's freaking sick, dude.
it was pretty
Wow.
cool.
Uh,
27 years being uncomfortable in your own skin and then you finally make it. It's an awesome feeling.
wow. Do you think this is maintainable or sustainable in any way?
Easy. I knew it would be. That's why I was like, hey, Dylan, this is what I want to do. I want to sprint finish to where I want to get to. And because I know I've got the discipline. I mean, the gym is my life. I love going to the gym. I love lifting. I have friends there. It's my favorite part of every day. The gym and training I can maintain. Tracking calories isn't that hard. It's just I can't put it all together by myself without eventually crashing out because I wasn't doing, I guess it was probably the micros were the biggest thing. But
Yeah, there's really small things that play such a big factor. The more research I learned and the longer I was in the space, the more through trial and error and just working with so many clients, it's you learn such small things can literally dictate the whole experience, which is so unique because I'm sure you know now, obviously, with the micronutrients, so much is at play and so many play with each other where certain micronutrients make other more bioavailable and just it's a really cool recipe for everything and just like your gut health and everything like that. Like a lot of people when they start dieting, they get that wicked bad gas and things like that. I'm sure you didn't experience like the craziest gas things like that.
no,
It's pretty cool when you actually understand the nutrition, the body. It's pretty cool what you can accomplish. But if someone's on the fence about joining or unsure what you were in before joining, what would you say to them?
if somebody's on the fence, I would say, I mean, I don't really have experience with any other fitness coaches, but I know this guy's a damn good one. He's not just a fitness coach either. He is a lifestyle nutritionist, fitness coach, all in one.
Thank you, man.
And
I
if
appreciate that.
if you have an issue with whether it's some sort of eating disorder, motivation to go to the gym, anything like that, Dylan can help.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. And any final message to someone, not for me, just anyone that's watching, that you feel like you could help in their situation. They're not in the fitness space. They don't know what to do. Do you have any messages that you'd want to send to anyone?
Honestly, I would say just go for it. If you're nervous to go to the gym because you feel like you're embarrassed, you don't want to be moving tiny amounts of weight, or you're just embarrassed like wearing gym clothes to go to the gym, screw it. Nobody cares. No one cares because I was that guy 2 years ago. It was the middle of summer. I'm wearing a hoodie to the gym because I didn't want people to just see how fat and ugly I was. And
It's
it's
not
just
just you,
like
man. I'm glad you see.
nobody cares. No one cares. Get in there and bust your ass, train hard, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to be every single piece of everything right up front. When I first started, I just was going to the gym 4 days a week. I wasn't tracking calories, I wasn't hitting protein, I wasn't doing anything. About 2 months after that, I was like, hey, I'm gonna start taking creatine. The next month or 2 months after that, I was like, hey, I'm actually like disciplined and I'm actually going to the gym and like being consistent with my training. I should probably try to up my protein intake. I didn't start tracking my protein intake until I'd been going to the gym for over a year. And that's when I started to notice size and strength increases. And then it was about 5, 6 months after that that I really started to dial in my nutrition. And here we are now. I wouldn't say it's my dream body because I mean nobody ever really gets their dream body. And good lord, I'm not a trend twin yet, but we're never gonna get there. I'm not hopping on gear, but like it's just baby steps. Take the first step. There. Let's boil it all down to that. If you want to get in shape, you want to change your life, take the first step. Because if you don't, you're never gonna succeed.
No, you said it really well. I think it was very well spoken and very articulate because a lot of people do want to be perfect and they think, hey, if I'm not going to be perfect, it's not worth it. And everything adds up. You can start with just 10,000 steps. You can start with just switching from regular soda to diet soda. It could be something just as small as that. And it'll make an impact. And it's just stacking things over and over and over again. You'd be shocked at where you become months down the road just from stacking small things over and over again. And he touched on something I think a lot of people don't understand. The fitness space, the most welcoming place on earth, in the gym. I know the internet seems very toxic and I see those videos. I react to those videos. Like I see it all the time. The gym's very welcoming. And even Matthew, before we even record, someone came up to the gym and said, you look amazing. Like they just compliment him. It's like the biggest guy in the gym. It's a very welcoming space.